Hey guys, welcome back. Well, today's the first time ever that we're going to do a 3D artist send-in review, okay? It's a new thing. If you are interested in doing the same, send your work to this email address right here. It can be a still render, it can be an animation, and also mention whether you want your name mentioned or not. I will do a complete honest review, so if you cannot stand a critique, don't do it. If you can, I will be very respectful, but I'll also be very honest, okay? All right, that said, it's time for the first one. We're going to be looking at a portfolio provided by Austin Brown. He is an environmental artist, and that said, let's check it out. Here we go. All right, everybody, well, let's go. So we're on Austin Brown's portfolio website, austinbrownenvironments.com, and he volunteered to have me review his work. So I applaud you for that, Austin. You're a brave man. But I've seen your work, so nothing to worry about. And your page obviously states that you're an environment artist, and that is very clear when I look at your portfolio. Now you have a video with a demo reel. You also have still shots of your work in the portfolio section. Then you have a contact page, of course, very important, and an overview of your resume, right? Now, before I dive into your portfolio and start the review, a couple of things I want to mention. First of all, this is the first time ever doing this on MA tutorials, so I kind of need to find my way in these reviews, and I need your help to do that. So if there are certain specific sections you want me to cover while doing a review like this, let me know. And if there are others you don't want, let me know as well, okay? I do have kind of a format of things that I look at, but it kind of depends on what I receive. So for example, whenever I see a post, a portfolio, an individual piece, an animation, I always ask the question, what is the purpose of the post? Is it because you want to attract potential clients? Is it because you are using it as an educational piece? Is it for a commercial? Is it a product design? Do you want to impress your friends and whatnot? Now in this case, because it's a portfolio and because it clearly states an environmental artist, the purpose is clear. It is to attract clients and to attract work and to make money. So good job on that to start with. Second thing I want to mention is if you look at the logo with the three mountains, that ties very, very much into the whole aspect of being an environment artist. I think that is very nice, and as I start this video, you'll see the same thing, because that ties into the personal branding thing. When people at some point start to recognize your logo or your brand, that very much helps you to build your network, okay? So like that again. Then, depending on what I receive, I look at things like topology, the wireframe, is it clean, what's the poly count, does the poly count fit the purpose, but all of that ties into what I have to work with. Now in this case, I don't think I have any wireframes, so I cannot address any of that. I can look at the models, however, the scale, the proportions, the textures, texture maps, whether there's repetition, whether the scale is okay, whether things have been used efficiently, and so on. Of course, lighting, then the storytelling elements like composition and what is the backstory, and how that ties into everything, and of course whether things are original, right? Now, in this specific case, because we have a video, and unfortunately I had to turn off the music because YouTube doesn't allow me to do that. So I turned off the music. I will replace it with other music, but what we're going to do here is we're going to slowly pace ourselves through this demo reel. It's a 2 minute 12 seconds, and I'll stop on occasion and make comments about what I like and what I think may need some improvement. Okay, here we go. I'll just maximize that. Okay, let me start right here. First of all, what I always say in a portfolio is start strong and end strong, okay? The camera movement in the scene, the overall mood of the scene, the lighting, the atmosphere, the buildings, the textures, basically everything makes a very, very strong first impression. You don't want to put a piece in here that will have potential clients run for the hills in the first 5 seconds, okay? So job very well done. Now, I don't know the backstory of this. Looking at the buildings and the atmosphere, one thing I can tell pretty much straight off is that it's quite original as far as the building is concerned. The way that they're connected with bridges over water, and it looks like they have some beams up there. Not sure what the purpose is there, but it looks quite original. Okay. One thing I would change though is looking at the building straight on the left here. You see the curved element in the wood here. The wood's curved, the texture is not following that curve. So the texture is horizontal while the curve is in an arch. Okay, I see that happen all the time. It's kind of a dead giveaway that it's quote unquote fake. Of course, this is 3D. It's obviously 3D. It's not photorealistic, but nevertheless, it's kind of an eyesore. So I would deal with that. Same with the windows up here, right? Then with the lighting, these lights may be a little bit too bright. I don't see any wires or anything, so I don't assume this is electric light. And if it were lanterns, like lit lanterns, it would be fire, and therefore the light would be more yellow or orange, and it would be less bright. Just saying, okay? All right, let's continue. Very, very nice buildings. I can see by looking at the buildings that a lot of research has been done on how the actual buildings have been structured. I see some German influences, I see some Scandinavian influences, and I think that's really neat. The texture on the chimney here may be a little bit too easy on that. I would consider making that a little bit more detailed. I like the element of smoke coming out of the chimney, and I'll just scrub back a little bit so you can see it again. So there you go. They're very, very nice. Don't see any repetition going on in the texture on the roof, which is always good because usually that is the first thing that you will see. Nice texture on the windows there. Again, basically the same issue with the lights. But I do see though that almost all of the edges have been beveled, so nothing sticks out as being extremely hard-edged. Some manual textures added here, looks like the green patches on the wall, probably related to moss or something like that because of the fact that the buildings are sitting next to water. Okay, nice details on the doors here. This scene I like very much. One thing I do notice though is looking at the elements here, these boards, the floorboards, they are perfectly straight. Not one of them is lifted or crooked or anything like that. A little bit too straight, I would say, right? Same with the steps down here. I do love this scene very, very much. I do see the texture problem in the arches again. And looking at the barrels in the back here, the spacing seems to be a little bit too perfect from each other. And usually that is a giveaway as well, that it's positioned like that, okay? You want to create some variation. Now for the light here, based on the fact that it's covered on top, right? You wouldn't have as much light going straight up where the hook is because the light would be covered. And it looks like that light is coming through the texture or through the mesh, or it's so bright, or the light is positioned outside of the fixture, okay? Let's see what else we got. I like the layout very much. I think it's very original with the different rooms and the different views going from one to the other, so very good. Again, some arches, same issue. A very, very nice shot. From a storytelling point of view, the panning of the camera, the close shot and wide shot setup is very nice. Looking at the tower here, one issue that I have with that is the fact that looking at the bottom of the cap on the tower here, that's completely boarded up or solid. That typically wouldn't make sense. You would either see a beam structure, like an internal beam structure, because this would make things unnecessarily heavy. It doesn't really have a lot of function, and it would cost a lot more to build it that way. So you would have the vertical beams going straight up into the roof with some kind of beam structure going on, right? And then depending on, I assume this is a watchtower, depending on how people would come up to the tower, you would either have steps on the outside or a door on the outside so they could go in, okay? Okay, very, very different scene here. And I've watched the demo reel, I would say 5 or 6 times so far before I started the video. This seems to be kind of a gift shop for a, I would say, a Jurassic Park kind of theme park thing, or maybe a zoo with the theme of dinosaurs, obviously. Some very nice textures going on here. Looking at this inflatable guy here, looks very nice. Nice eye for detail, like for example the ceiling here. Guessing the overall height of the room though, it feels very low. It's almost it almost feels miniature, so I'm not quite sure how the scaling works, but maybe that's just deceitful. Okay, then looking at the shelves and looking at the boxes, the fact that they are not perfectly aligned, and you got one sticking out here and one sticking out there, that is perfect eye for detail. Very, very good. It makes it look more realistic. Okay. Let's see, the eggs on the floor cast a shadow, right? And based on the position of this light, if that were the main light source, you would have a shadow here, which makes sense. This shadow would probably be over here, unless you have another light up here, and I think that's the case. That explains the 2 eggs with the shadow there. Does not explain though why this stone doesn't have any shadow at all. And I find the texture, this purple and green, it looks a bit stretched, to be honest. Okay, let's see, we'll just play that through. Now again, a very nice scene, and this has a very, very strong storytelling element. Because we just saw the gift shop, now we see the same gift shop on a computer screen from an office. So obviously this is the office of the office manager or the general manager or whoever's in charge, keeping an eye out on the store while doing some paperwork. Okay, a lot of details going on here. We got some cat posters telling something about the person that works here in this room. We got some file drawers back here, an old computer. We got this calculator with some very tiny details on the top there, that kind of the rip edge of that paper. One thing I kind of find disappointing though is the fact that the mouse doesn't have any detail at all. It's basically a flat brick. I would add maybe some buttons or whatnot. And then in this opening here, where you would typically have a vent or a bezel or a logo or whatnot, not much going on there either. Overall for the scene, it's not too bad. It's okay, but you know, just a detail. But like I said, a lot of detail going on here, and I like it a lot. Now, to be quite honest, I don't get this scene really, because it doesn't fit with the rest. Mainly from, I would say, a quality standpoint. It seems that everything in the scene is much more low poly than in all the other scenes, and the textures are very stretched. Looking at the fenders here, looking at the tires, looking at the texture on the floor, it almost feels like this has been made years earlier than everything else, but I could be mistaken. And I don't think it really ties into the story as much. In the sense that we had the gift shop with the dinosaurs and whatever, and then we have this scene here. Unless it's for a completely different purpose, that could be the case. Okay. Okay, now this scene kind of cool. It gives a little bit of an Indiana Jones vibe to it. Has a lot of very dangerous looking spikes from the ceiling. They all look a little bit too geometrically perfect, I would say. If this is carved out of marble or granite or wherever it is, you might want to have it look a little bit more like rock instead of like something that is, I would say, metal with a stone texture on it, if you know what I mean. Okay. Now, one thing that I notice immediately is as these pieces of debris fall down, the cubes are exactly that. They are perfect geometrical cubes. I would expect it to be more rock shaped. And then the floor there, it's a little bit too clean for an environment like that. Just go back here a little bit. The floor right there, I know it's going to be animated later on, but I would imagine that to be done with like a rock kind of surface instead of whatever this is, right? Now we're getting into my favorite scene, which is this right here, and this is very, very strong. We have the animation like in a really action type movie sequence here, moving over a perfectly textured floor. We got this animation going on. Again, the cubes are a little bit too much cube, and the explosion is maybe a bit short. But overall, I really like the storytelling element, and I like the camera movement. Right, this is a very new or very different scene. A little cottage or house has kind of a Scandinavian feel to it, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but that's the feel that I get when I look at it. The environment around it, the rocks and so forth, are looking very nice. Apparently it is the dragon's den, kind of neat. Textures look okay. The use of large sections of tree for the verticals and so forth, good choice. Scale fits nicely. Then we have the elements holding up this perimeter here, where all the verticals holding up that horizontal piece there are joined together. I would maybe put something in there like a leather strap or something to tie those two together so it looks like they originally were two pieces, which kind of makes more sense. And then we have the texture issue here again with this arch where the texture is not following the object. Okay, let's see what else. Overall, a very nice feel to it. I got some animation going on in the grass, a hockey stick. I don't know what the backstory is here, but and then the plants and so forth. So there you have it. Now, like I said, I had to mute the song, but apparently this is whoever made the music. Looking at the overall presentation here, I think the portfolio is very strong for a couple of reasons. First of all, it is very much on point as in environmental artist work. Of course, there are some other elements there as well, props and whatnot, but the environments are quite strong. I know for a fact that we're talking here about a graduate from 2 years ago, and the overall work is well above average as far as I'm concerned. So I think you did a great job. If you have any specific questions that you want to ask Austin, put them below. I am sure he will respond to you guys. Okay. Well, Austin, thank you very much for being the first person willing to do this. Let me know in the comments below, all you guys viewing this, whether you like this kind of thing, whether you want to participate or not, and what kind of things you want to see in videos like this. Okay. Sorry if it went a bit choppy first time round, but I'll try to polish that up. Right. See you guys soon. Bye. Well, thanks for watching, and before you go, please hit that MH button to subscribe, okay? See you guys next time. Bye.